Hey everybody, I'm Tara from Crooked Row, and it is an absolutely beautiful day. It is so warm I don't even have a coat on. I did bring it though. I'm too excited to get into the greenhouse. I actually get to start my seed starting for this year of 2025 and winter sowing. Although I'm not going to do winter sowing in this video, I'll do it in the... The sheep are talking to us. I'm gonna do it in the next video. But I let my boys stack hay in my greenhouse because the greenhouse, which is right behind me, is literally right next to the sheep shed. Whereas the barn is all the way over there. So storing the hay in the barn for the sheep that are over here, I just felt was a little unfair in all of this winter wonderland. So I let them store it here, and I wanted to just show you what a complete mistake that was. Because they stacked it right here in front of the doors, so we can't access hardly anything. So today you're going to be coming with me while I climb over hay to start seeds, but that's all just part of it, and that's part of gardening and farming with kids and the mistakes that we make and that we learn from each year. But that's not going to stop us from starting seeds. So let's get started. So I did just make my way through here, and we've made a little space so that we can make it back to where we are going to start doing our seeds. I'm gonna grab a couple trays, and then we'll chat about what the plan is, and maybe you can start this too. Okay, I have now collected everything that I need to start my seeds. I wanted to explain to you a little bit about what we're gonna do. So the salad bowl out right behind our greenhouse, that's where, I mean, we call it the salad bowl clearly because that's where a lot of our salad fixins go. But we're gonna actually take all of that out, and we're gonna put I hope a black fence, if not a cedar picket fence, all the way kind of stretching through most of the garden. And it's because last year we dealt with so much with our sheep getting into the garden, and we actually had our sweet cow last year, and she got into the garden a lot too. I'm not looking to have like a deer proof, I mean, we don't really struggle with deer yet. I mean, we've been here 13 years. I know we have deer in our upper field, a lot of them, but I don't know if there's too much activity down here or what, but we seem to not struggle. But I did want to put up some sort of barrier. And so with the barrier, I'm like recreating the whole garden. And so part of what I'm doing is so first things first, today I'm gonna create my herb garden. So I actually have plans. I'll show it in a different video. When we do our fence, like, because in a couple weeks we're gonna, as long as the ground is thawed, we're gonna start cementing all of our posts for what we're gonna do, where we take out the salad bowl and we're just restructuring things. But one thing I have always wanted is, I kind of have, right now I have herbs all over the place, and I love that, and I'll still keep doing that. But I also want a central location for an herb garden, especially perennial herbs. And I'll plant annual I'll plant annual herbs in there from time to time, every year, you know, and like you do with flowers. I mean, we'll be able to do like different patterns, but the perennials clearly will kind of have the same footprint, and then we'll tuck in little annuals here and there. But I also want to put flowers in there as well. So, but today, my very first seed starting tray, I typically would have started a couple weeks ago, but we've actually had a lot going on here with a bunch of our sheep dropping babies all at once, and my dad is visiting and things like that. My son's in wrestling. We have a lot going on. So I am going to start and I want to show you my seeds. So first things first, I typically not only get organic seeds from everything I do, but I typically go with Rare Seeds, Johnny's Seeds, Seed Savers Exchange, Southern Exposure, Berlin Seeds. I have like a set seed thing, but I was in Walmart and I broke down because the seed packets have been like out of control how expensive they have gotten, and so I've been very frustrated with that. So I went ahead and bought some things from Walmart. So they are selling Burpee seeds. I got some rosemary, and I've ordered from Burpee before. Now this is Fairy Morse, and I'm not very sure about them. And again, this is like a Walmart thing, but that is the sage. And I already have several sage plants growing in front of the greenhouse that we use a ton. But here is Burpee Thyme and Spearmint and oregano. And then I know that cilantro is an annual, but we like to have cilantro as just, we constantly sow cilantro because we eat so much of it. And then this is a biennial, so I'm going to clump this in with the perennials and plant some parsley. I'm hoping to, as this herb garden develops, like the things that we use the most are definitely cilantro. We use tons of thyme. We use tons of sage, and thyme and sage both can be used so often in rubs and all sorts of stuff, but thyme actually makes all my sauces just, they never know what that flavor is, and it's thyme. Thyme is just, I love it. And I already have like a lot of thyme plants out here in front of the greenhouse, but again, we are starting to develop our actual herb garden. So I want every herb, especially the ones we use. Like a long time ago, I planted in our very first herb garden that is behind our house, and we still have it, but it just, I don't know, it never thrived in that location. But I have some things that I planted in there that we just don't use, like savory. I will cut savory and use it in beans, but that's about it. I mean, thyme, sage, even rosemary. I mean, we raise lambs, for goodness sake, so we use tons of rosemary, but rosemary and potatoes are so good together. I mean, rosemary is really that herb like that really kicks your dishes up a notch, and I feel like thyme is what kicks your sauces up a notch. So I don't know if I showed this or not, but oregano, I like oregano. I mean, I use it in my spaghetti sauce and some of my Italian dishes and things. I mean, clearly the king of all the herbs is basil. That is an annual. I will be growing that, but not right now. My basil gets so huge, and then if I succession sow it, I'll have mine too early. They really need to go in around when tomatoes do. It is a hot weather. I've had people tell me that I can grow basil early, and I try to grow basil early, and the leaves just get so damaged that I don't feel like they taste good. So this is the first sowing of the year. We have lots of herbs to get started. So I'm gonna get the seedless soil ready. So I'm using Jiffy Natural and Organic Seed Starting Mix, and I'm just going to put it in my bucket. I have brought out water because we want to get that seed starting mix nice and moist, because you do not want dry. Here's some old seed starting mix that I'm just gonna leave in here. And if you notice in my background, I'm sharing my space right now with the hay for the sheep. So that's okay. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna start filling these trays. In the middle of seed starting, I was brought this beautiful breakfast and accompanied by my husband. So we're gonna sit here and eat, and on a farm you eat wherever you are. So we are in the greenhouse and we are going to sit and eat breakfast together. Okay, so we ate lunch. I got my hair up because I kept swiping this through my hair. And we're actually gonna get started. So I have 5 trays of these ready. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seed packets. So clearly they can't all have their own trays. So we use tons of cilantro. But even though we use tons of cilantro, cilantro does not last all season. So I'm only gonna do half cilantro and the other half oregano. And the reason why I'm only doing half oregano is because I've actually ordered another seed packet of oregano, and I ordered too many seeds, and it's Greek oregano. So this is a different type of oregano. So I'm going to let Chris do these, but before we get started, you absolutely need to mark what you've got. Especially, like, I know my hand is dirty, but it'll be even more so. So Chris is going to do cilantro first. So I'm going to write cilantro. And I'm also gonna, on the other side, I like to write who it's from, because I keep a journal on what germinates well, you know, who grows fast and things like that. So Chris's cilantro is gonna be this half. And then I'm gonna make him another half, another stick of oregano.
For the other half.
So this side, as you can see, has a cilantro stick here and an oregano there. What you saw, Fairy Morse is the seed company. Again, I like to document well. I am also going to switch these out. I haven't received my new seed placards, or whatever you call them. And I'll switch these sticks out because these tend to bleed as moisture sets in, even though I use a Sharpie. I could use a paint pen, but I don't want those fumes inside of a seed dome. So Chris is gonna get started on his, and while he is doing his, I am going to start a whole tray of thyme. But I gotta mark it first. Okay, I want you to see how incredibly minute these seeds are. So that is very tiny seed.
Let's show them this right here. This is the Fairy Morse oregano. Look.
It's like dust.
Little,
yeah.
Getting like
Put a couple in each if you can.
Wow. I mean, it reminds me of like the scripture where it talks about how like this, mustard seed being the smallest of the seeds, and it grows into a great big tree. But like these are little right here. So.
I have put on the thyme seeds. I showed you how tiny they were. It says to plant them 1/4 inch deep. I don't like that. Like, I mean, if you want to put a tiny bit of soil over top of them, you can. But I feel like, and I have good, healthy thyme plants, so I've done this before. I feel like just pressing them into the soil is good. So I'm just going to take each little square and kind of make sure that the seeds are covered. After you do this, you could put like a fine amount of seed starting mix over top of it, but I don't. But you do what works for you. So we're gonna go ahead and so the Fairy Morse packets, I'm not really loving it because they don't really have a lot of info on the back. It doesn't even tell what zones it covers. So I'm only going to plant like 4 or 5 cells of this. And I'm going to do it the rest of the tray with rosemary.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I might only do 4 or 5 of these rosemary. So let me explain. So this rosemary is a certain type, and of course Burpee doesn't put what type it is on it. I don't like that, Burpee. But it only is a zone 8 to 10, and we're 6. So this will be grown as an annual, or I'm gonna have to shuffle it in and out. At Swallowtail Nurseries, or Swallowtail Gardens, I can't remember which one it is, they have a rosemary that is a perennial from zone 6 to 10. So those are on order too. And so I'm only going to grow very few of these and very few of this sage. I may not even use all my trays today, but there will be more added as seeds come into our garden.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all planted. Let me get the looser one. Now I'm just going to barely trickle water them in. You don't want a tons like I just did of water, because you don't want it to rot or cause any kind of mold. So I'm just going to barely hit each one. This is just to make sure that the seeds are making contact with the soil and the water, really, but okay, well, Chris and I just finished watering in the seedling trays, and we went to put on the domes on top of each tray, and we discovered that 4 of them were missing. And I couldn't figure that out because I had them all stacked together. So as we investigated this, you gonna come in?
Yeah.
So as we investigated this, we ended up we were questioning our kids, like where they had put it. None of them had seen it, of course. They never do. And so we ended up finding out that our oldest son had grabbed these 4 trays and emptied transmission fluid into them.
Of course. Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. So when this happens, it is, even though I'm very angry right now, and I'm gonna fry me up that boy for dinner.
Oh, he's gonna buy some new ones.
Yeah, yeah. These actually are not the cheapy trays. The ones that we used are these really great ones from Gardener Supply, and these are the ones that have the that little felty thing that you put in the bottom, so that when after your germination has happened, you can keep that little bottom filled with water, and it like slowly, you know, seeps into your plant trays. And it's a wonderful system. I think it's called Grow Ease. It's, oh, I love it. But, and the trays themselves, I'm trying to pull one out. The trays themselves, like, look, this is full, and they are just so hardy. Like, Chris can...
Here's the bottom.
Just so incredibly hardy. I would not be able to pick up another seed tray full like that. There's just, it would snap in half because they're all made super cheap. There is one kind that I've gotten from Amazon. They're nothing like these trays, but they are 5 for like $25. And these are about $18 a piece. But they're a great investment because I've already used these for 3 seasons, and I utilize the heck out of my seed trays. I mean, I do a spring one, I do midsummer, and I do a fall seed starting. So anyway, point being, that was a big, stupid move for him to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, but when this happens, the whole point of the, sometimes they're called germination domes, sometimes they're called seed tray covers. Whenever you lose these, it is not a huge deal, because you're just trying to enhance germination and trying to keep it moist while that is happening. And so you can use plastic wrap, you can use other things to help that. You do want something clear, so that most seeds, they need light to help germinate. And so I'm gonna put plastic wrap on these. Even though, I want to show you the cover, even though they all come with that perfect cover, these others I'm gonna take into our little makeshift grow room, and I'm going to put some plastic wrap on them. So, you know, the woes of parenting. So we're gonna head over to the our utility room to start these up, and I want you to see. Actually earlier I had cleaned it and I taped it just so that everybody can see, like, we're totally normal. We live in a very tiny house. We have to make room to seed start, so I cleared everything out this morning and was wiping everything down, and we still have like storage on the top of our like sandwiched in between. It's a big metal rack, and on the top we have storage, on the bottom too we have storage. So we're just trying to make it work. So we're gonna take these trays in there. So that is that for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys are seed starting. This is the beginning of the greatest season ever. First, I love spring, but second, it means that we're all starting to plant again. So I really hope this spurs you on to start your seeds. It's definitely herb starting season and cold weather items and perennials. So this is a big season. I'm going to be making more seed starting videos, if anything, just as a reminder. And we're also soon going to have some winter sowing videos coming up. So remember, if we can start our seed starting, anybody can. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.